welcome to Dwayne's Guitar Lessons. I'm your guitar instructor, Dwayne Jenkins. And in this video lesson, what we're going to be doing is looking at 3 chords that beginners can get started with and playing some songs, okay? Now, if you're playing electric, I would recommend starting out with your open and closed power chords just because those are a little bit simpler to start out with. But once you get past that, then you want to get to your natural chords, okay? And the 3 natural chords that I would recommend starting out with if you're just beginning would be your G, your C9, or C add 9, whichever you want to call it, and your D, okay? These 3 chords, all right? G, C9, and D. And the reason why is because they're probably easiest to play and they're real common in a lot of rock songs, okay? Now, in this, I also wanted to mention to you about an alternate type of tuning as well, okay? Now, with this kind of guitar, I wanted to show you that I'm in a different tuning. I'm in E flat. The reason why is I wanted to tell you that is in case you want to play along with me, learn the chords, and I'm going to show you a couple examples of how these chords work, okay? And just a couple examples in a couple songs here, okay? So, what you want to do is you want to get your little tuner like this. These are real popular, these little clip-on tuners. Clip it on your headstock, okay? You don't have to be plugged in or anything. But what you want to do is your strings are normally E, A, D, G, B, E. And so if you're going to tune to E flat, what you want to do is you want to tune back, okay? So your tuner, and the reason why I mention this, your tuner is not going to read like E flat. It's going to read D sharp, okay? It's going to read sharp instead. So when you look at it, you want it to read D sharp for the 6th string, okay? And what you're doing is you're going back a letter, okay? So in the alphabet, it's just basically A through G, and it goes back to A in the musical alphabet. So, and in between, you have sharps and flats. Now, if you're going up the fretboard, that's considered sharp. If you're going down the fretboard, that's considered flat. So for instance, example, this is a G note on the 6th string. This is an A note on the 6th string. And the note in between them is going to either be a G sharp or an A flat, okay? So up here at the 12th fret, this is our E note on the 6th string, and we go back to the 10th fret, this is going to be our D note on the 6th string. And the note in between is going to either be E flat or D sharp, okay? So that's the note that we want to tune to. Now on the tuner, it's not going to show flat, it's only going to show sharp. And sharp is indicated by like a hashtag sign, okay? Pound sign on your phone. So as we look at the tuner, we can see it says D sharp, okay? That lets us know we want to tune down to D sharp, okay? So we're at E, and we want to lower the string until it goes to D sharp, okay? This one is normally an A, so it's going to go back to the letter before it, which was a G, and then it's would be a G sharp, okay? So the tuner shows G sharp. Our D is going to go back to the letter back because we're tuning down, so you're going back in the alphabet. So that's going to be a C sharp. As we can see, the tuner says C sharp. The G, we're going back to the F, only a half step, which is just 1 fret. So that's going to be an F sharp, and your tuner should say F sharp on it, okay? The B, we're going back to the letter before it, which is an A. And since we're going only 1 step, which is half step, which is 1 fret, we're going to A sharp or B flat, whichever you want to look at it. But on the tuner, it's going to show sharp. So we want to think A sharp, not necessarily B flat, just for tuning purposes, okay? And then on our 1st string, which is also an E, we're going to go back half a step to the D sharp. So that we want that to be a D sharp as well, okay? So I just want to show you how you tune your guitar down to E flat. What's neat about the guitar is there's a lot of different tunings you can do with it, and you can make it sound all kinds of different ways and stuff. And if you've ever tried to play a song and you can't get it to sound right, or maybe you're playing the chords that don't sound right, it might be just it's because it's in a different tuning, okay? I remember I had that kind of problem when I was younger, before I really knew what I was doing. It was kind of before I got a chance to take some lessons and stuff. Didn't really understand all the different tunings. And I would be playing a song, just trying to play it like by ear or something. I would say, wow, that sounds kind of like a G, but it doesn't sound right, you know? And I'd be trying all kinds of different things until I learned about the different tunings. Once I got that down, then it was like, oh, okay, now I understand why it sounds right. So if you're going to try to play with me, which would be great, just want to let you know you want to have your guitar tuned down E flat, okay? Which on your tuner will be considered D sharp. Okay, so now that we got that through, let's look at these three chords. We're going to look at our G, our C9, and our D. These are the three chords I would recommend starting off with because they're so common in songs, okay? Tons of songs have these three chords. And I'll show you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. That's why I wanted you to be in this tuning. Okay, so our G, we're going to start with our G major chord. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our second finger, put it on the 6th string, 3rd fret. Okay? Take our first finger, put it on the 5th string, 2nd fret. Take our third finger, put it on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and then take our pinky and put it on the 1st string, 3rd fret. Okay? Now the pinky is kind of tough to do, so if you're having a problem with the pinky, don't worry about that for right now, but I would recommend trying to get it down. You'll see what I'm talking about. It really helps out, okay? So pinky is probably the hardest finger to discipline, so if you can get that down, the other ones will be easy, okay? Now I want to show you this chord first because the other ones will be easier after you get this one down. This is probably one of the hardest natural chords to get down is the G. So if you get this one down, you know, you're doing the hardest thing first, so then it makes everything else easy after that. At least that's kind of my philosophy anyway. Okay, so we want to have our thumb in the back. You know, as you can see, my hand is kind of like this, my elbow's back here like this, and we're doing this, okay? So, and what you want to do with these kind of chords, these natural chords, is you've got to play on the tips of your fingers. A lot of times we tend to like do this kind of stuff with our hand and lay our fingers across the other strings, and we get this muting sound kind of thing, and it don't sound good. So you've got to be able to play on the tips of your fingers. It's mandatory with these kind of chords, okay? Play on the tips of your fingers. I know it's going to be kind of uneasy at first. There is a bit of a learning curve you have to go through, but once you get through it, it'll be okay. So tip number 1, play on the tips of your fingers. Tip number 2, have your thumb in the back so that it'll help you to form the chord and keep good hand posture, okay? And then tip 2, once you get that formed, strum all 6 strings like this. And maybe pick the strings individually to make sure they all sound good. Now if you can tell if your fingers are touching the other strings, because you'll get this muted kind of sound when you try to check them. See how I'm getting that sound? That doesn't sound good. It lets me know I need to lift my fingers up off those strings, so that way when you do it, you get a very nice, natural, clean sound, okay? And this does take a while. It doesn't come overnight, but if you work on it a little bit every day, you'll get it, okay? So that's our first chord right there, our G major. Once again, our second finger is on the 3rd string, 3rd fret. First finger is on the 5th string, 2nd fret. Third finger is on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, and the pinky is on the 1st string, 3rd fret. So these last 3 fingers should all be on the 3rd fret, and this first one should be on the 2nd fret, okay? There you go, that's your G, okay? Now, to play our next chord is going to be, all we need to do is take these 2 fingers and bring them down a string, okay? We keep them on the same frets, just bring them down a string. Now we should be on the 5th, 4th string, and then these 2 fingers stay where they're at, okay? Now instead of strumming from the 6th string, we'll strum from the 5th string down. So you want to practice kind of both your hands. The coordination between both your hands is really important for playing guitar. So you want to form the chords with this hand and then learn to strum with this hand, okay? Like I said, once again, if you're getting this kind of thing going on, that tells you that you're laying your finger down and you need to lift it up and get it on the tip of the finger so that you get a clean sound with those strings that you're not playing. So that's our C9 or C add 9, whichever is the different, whichever you want to look at it. Sometimes you'll see it written as C9, and sometimes you'll see it written as C add 9. They're the same thing, just written different, like car and automobile. Same thing, just written different, okay? So if you see that, there's nothing to get confused about. It's the same thing, just written different, okay? So that's our C add 9 on the 5th, 4th, second, and first, okay? And if we want to go back to G, all we have to do is take these two fingers, bring them back up to the 6th and 5th strings, stay on the same frets. Now we have our G. So G, and then go back to C9, bring them down, there's our C9. And then the next chord that we want to do is our D, okay, our D major, which means that we're going to take this finger, our second finger, and take it off the 5th string and bring it down to the 1st string, down here on the 2nd fret, okay? And then take our first finger, bring that down a string. Keep it on the same fret, 2nd fret, and then take our pinky off the 1st finger, and now we have the D major. And this one's just like 3 points that make a triangle, okay? Second finger is on the 1st string, first finger is on the 3rd string, they're both on the 2nd fret, and then 3rd finger is on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. Okay, so you have a little, like a little triangle. I like to think of it as a triangle facing this way. Because if you look at the 3 points, they would make a triangle, okay? That's your D major chord right there. Now the main thing of changing these chords, going from chord to chord, is this second finger right here. Because the second finger has got to go from the 1st string, 2nd fret, to the 5th string, 3rd fret, okay? So what you want to do is work on that. Like if you're playing the D chord, work on getting that second finger to do this, okay? From 1st to 5th string, from 1st to 6th string. Okay, that's a little bit hard. I remember I was trying that a long time ago. I had a hard time, but I can do it now. But I remember when I first started, that was really, really hard to do. So just practice that, back and forth, back and forth, and forth, back and forth, from the 1st string, 2nd fret, to the 5th string, 3rd fret. And leave your other fingers where they're at, okay? And then practice going from the 1st string to the 6th string, because that'd be a D to a G, okay? That's the main thing here in this, is just trying to get this down, because a lot of times in rock songs, they switch chords so fast that it's hard to get everything in there. So you kind of need to learn a few shortcuts, okay? And that's what I teach here, is a little bit. I'm going to teach you how to do a few shortcuts here throughout my lessons. Teach you some easy ways to do things, make it not so difficult for you, so you can progress a little bit faster, okay? Now I'm not talking about kind of shortcuts that, you know, cause bad playing. I'm just talking about shortcuts that are going to allow you to move through chords a little bit faster, okay? And this is a really good thing here. So if you just get this finger to move back and forth like this is going to help you out a lot, okay? So now we have our D. And if we wanted to go to that C add 9, we take our second finger from the 1st string, move it to the 5th. Take our first finger, just move it up a string, and bring our pinky down back where it was. Now we have our C add 9, okay? And then if we want to move to the G, all we have to do is do these two fingers up a string, and there they are. There's our G. So if we were going to go from G to C and then to D, we just take the pinky off of the D and then lay it back down when we go to the C or the G. Doesn't matter. Okay, so D, and then we go back to the C9, strum that 4 times, and then go to the G and strum that 4 times. Go back to the D. Okay, so 3 chords, foundation. This would be, I would recommend this being the foundation of your natural chord vocabulary. Okay, your D, your C9, and your G. Okay, there's tons of other chords to learn, but just start with these 3. I think this would be a great place to start with your natural chords, because of the fact that they're very common in a lot of songs. Okay, so start with these, then you can learn all those other ones, the E, the A, the F, and all that stuff. But I would start with these. Your D major, your C add 9, or C9, doesn't matter, and your G major. Okay? D, C, G. Okay? And you don't have to be tuned to E flat. You can do it in natural tuning. You know, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to show you that in case you want to play along with me, okay? So let's say we're going to strum each chord 4 times, all right? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 on the D. Then we're going to move to the C add 9. Keep these 2 fingers where they're at. And then go to our G. back to our D again. Okay, now there's a few different songs, I'll just show a couple examples I'll show you here that utilize this technique, okay? So one of them that's real popular, Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. And they're just doing the D to the C to the G, okay? So they do something like this in the verses. She's got smiles that it seems to me reminds me of childhood memories where everything was as fresh as a bright blue sky. Now and then when I see her face, it takes me away to that special place, and if I stay there too long, I'd probably break down and cry. As you can see, the D, the C, and the 9. Now there's a little bit of strumming to it and stuff, and the main thing, we're not really concerned with that right now. We're just concerned with forming these chords. And like I said, play with them on the tips of your fingers, and if it helps to bring your thumb over the top to just like grab that neck, that's okay too. And all I'm doing on the strumming is just down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. That's a really good strumming pattern that works for a lot of songs. So if you get that down, down, up, down, and I think we're playing each chord like 2 times, let's see, or maybe 4 times, see. Smiles that it seems to me reminds me of child. Yeah, so each chord is going to be done for 2, so. Then move to the C add 9. And then to the G. And then back to the D again. Okay, so that's the rhythm, Sweet Child of Mine. The D, the C add 9, and then the G. Okay. Now another song that's real popular, a rock song that uses E chords. And there's a whole bunch of them. I'm just going to show a couple examples in this video lesson. But Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. Okay, but instead of starting with the D, they're going to start with the G. Okay, and just go from G to C and then go to D. So he'll be like. And so you notice how I'm just moving these 2 fingers. My other 2, these fingers stay right where they're at. We both lie silent and still in the dead of the night. And though we both lie close together, we feel miles apart inside. Was it something I said or something I did? Did my words not come out right? Though I tried not to hurt you, though I tried, I guess that's why they say every rose has its thorn. Just like every night has its dawn. Just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. Every rose has its thorn. Okay? So as you can see, the same thing, the strumming was a little bit different, you know. The rhythm was a little bit different, but it was same chords. The G to the C, back to the G. So for the most part of what he was doing the verse, he was just doing these 2 chords here. And then during that one part, he went to the D, back to the C, and then back to the G. And then back to the C, okay? And these are good things, ideas that you can use for if you're writing your own song, you know? Try using these chords. Once you learn them, your D, your C, and your G. Try to be creative with these. Either start with the G, and then go to the C like this one was, and then maybe go to the D, or go back and forth between the G and the C, and then add the D in there, okay? Or you could start with the D, go to the C, and then go to the G, okay? Tons of songs, hundreds of songs that have these 3 chords in them, G, C, and D, tons of them, okay? So you just got to be creative, you know? Write a little melody line. And there's, like I said, there's different ways you can play these chords too, but this is the easiest way to play them, I think, okay? and just get used to this, okay? If you're playing natural chords, like I said, if you're starting off with the electric, I'd recommend starting off with your open and closed power chords. And if you want to learn how to do that, you can check out my website. I have an intro to rock guitar training course on there that you can sign up for. And I'll teach you how to play those open and closed power chords, get you going on a song, good rock song there. And then of course, once you get done with that, then you can start trying to get these natural chords down, okay? That's what I would recommend, starting off like that if you're just beginning, okay? Now, a few tips about the natural chords. Number one, you gotta play on the tips of your fingers. Very, very important. Play on the tips of your fingers, okay? Makes a big difference. So that way you don't mute those other strings, okay? And then maybe have your thumb over the top sometimes for that D, because it'll help you to hold the strings down a little bit better and hold the guitar. And you'll notice that your guitar is shaped a certain way for these type of chords. It's specifically designed so when you're playing these chords, it's kind of it's comfortable. Not kinda, it is. Okay. Okay, so that's what you want to do, and then just kind of work on your strumming. Like I said, if you use that strumming pattern, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down. That works with a lot of songs, okay? So work on that strumming, and then you can also pick too, you know, hold the chord and then pick. And as you start to play these chords and you try out these techniques, you're going to hear songs. You're going to hear bits and pieces of songs you've heard before on the radio or something, and it's because they're using these chords and they're using these techniques, and that's why you hear it. And you've heard them before. You maybe just don't know what they are, but that's why we're here, is to learn what they are, you know? Like for instance, we could hold our D chord and just pick the bottom 3 strings. See what I'm saying? Just get creative. You know, if you're writing your own songs, just be creative. Try to be creative. And that's what's great about learning the guitar is, you know, we improve our lives through having fun and being creative. That's what's great. You know, an instrument's it's been known to help improve your health, your life. You know, it gives you good brain power, builds your self-confidence, your self-esteem, gives you a sense of accomplishment. There's a lot of good things. And trying to get something like this down, it really does that. Because they're hard. They're not real easy to do. And if you're doing acoustic, then you definitely want to work on your natural chords, because that's, you know, if you're strumming acoustic, you need to learn your natural chords. So, once again, play on the tips of your fingers. Don't press down too hard, so you don't want to strain your hand or anything. If your fingers start to cramp up, take a break. You know, take a break with this hand and then work on this one. Just work on, you know, picking the strings individually like this. Or practice your strumming. Strum down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then maybe start strum up and down. Okay. So while one hand's taking a break, work on the other hand. Then when that hand gets tired, go back and work on the other one. Because the whole thing about playing guitar is the coordination between the 2 hands. Okay. So I hope that helped you out a lot. Leave a comment below, subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting some other videos to help you out with your learning, and I want to say thank you so much for watching. And if you want some more information on this, head over to my website at dwaynesguitarlessons.com and check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know, okay? So you have a good one. Until our next lesson, take care.